Okay, good morning and welcome to this Zoom in about the project NextGen Microcities led by the cities of Ventspils and Valmiera. We have today the opportunity to explore the challenges that are defined by the Urban Innovative Actions framework for implementation challenges related to innovative city projects. And we have Laura Codere with us, who is the project manager of this complex, fascinating, and very interesting project that the two cities have implemented in the last 3 years. So thank you very much, Laura, and welcome to this interview.
Hello, good to be here.
Thank you very much for your availability, Laura. And as you know, the UIA framework for the implementation challenges puts leadership at the first place. And leadership meaning the leadership capacity that the cities need to express when managing this kind of complex projects. And leadership at many levels. So we're talking about the project management side of the project, so the one that depended directly by you, but also the leadership required by the implementation partners, and also the leadership required in terms of political backing of the project. So it would be great to hear your views about this particular dimension of the challenge framework of UIA, please.
Yes, thank you, Fabio. Well, in the beginning, I would like to tell that actually, in my opinion, the leaders are the creative thinkers. Yes, because they need to innovate new things, and they need to be the leaders to whom everybody's following. Yeah, and those are the main persons, I think, in every organization, in every project, in every situation, because they can gather around the team, and the team is listening to them, and the team is the one actually who is doing all of those things in this situation in our projects, for example. And I would like to say that in our project, actually, it was pretty easy. Maybe, of course, not every day and not all the time, but for example, if you look back how we implemented the project, we had a great team, and every team had their own project managers, and somehow we managed to work all together and to find out the best ways how to manage all the problems and all the things. And also we had a great background because we were two cities. And the main urban authority was the Ventspils City Council, and to be honest, it was very supportive from their side as well. And if we had some kind of problems, they also had a great support. And the same I can tell about the Valmieras municipality as well. So I think that if we look on the scope of the project, then altogether we had great leaders in the project from all of the 10 partners.
And that's evident also because when you look at the timeline and the targets that you managed to keep on track, even the dramatic situation that everybody had to face because of the pandemic, you can actually sense that. But if I can ask you a further question on this, is there like a moment or more than one moment in which you, Laura, personally, as the main leader of this project, felt that things were not going exactly the way that you wanted, or felt that you personally had to express more in order to make things go in the proper way? Or was it a very simple ride for you?
Of course, no, not always. It was so easy and smooth as in the end it looks. But yes, thank you for the question. As you already mentioned, the pandemic situation was one of those, which was like for the first few days, it was like what to do next, how to do next, and what will be the next steps we can take to move forward to our target. But somehow, when you take a moment, you think about those things, how to manage them, what is possible to do next. And I think that I can say now something good about myself as well, because in that moment I understood that there are a lot of things that we still can do despite the situation. We still can do online meetings. We still can order things that we need. Of course, it will take more time. Of course, there will be delays, etc., etc. But still, we just do not need to stop at the moment, because who knows what will come next. And somehow we just managed to not stop this wheel and implement everything that we needed. But it wasn't easy in the beginning, because we are 10 partners, not 2 or 3, and we all need to come together and understand that those things are still doable.
That's great, Laura. And we'll come back to the concept of how you managed to keep the partnership together through difficult times in a couple of dimensions that we're going to talk about in this interview. I would like to go now to the next implementation challenge, which is defined by the UIA framework on the public procurement. And we know that cities spend billions of euros each year in procuring things for the cities themselves, but in particular, when it comes to these UIA projects, public procurement takes an even more sophisticated spin, because sometimes you need to purchase things that are very new on the market. So this is the case for the NextGen Microcities projects, because you had to purchase some very advanced technologies for your activities. How did it go? What kind of challenges did you face?
Well, in procurement, well, when it comes to public procurement, I would like to say that, of course, we have our legislation, our rules, our guidelines in Latvia. It's in Latvian state, it's in each company, and it's not very easy always. And actually, it's again, I can name the pandemic situation, because it went all together. We needed to order all those things that we even haven't those, for example, those items like 3DK, we don't have in Latvia at all. We don't have in Baltic states. We even don't have it in the closest Europe. Yeah, so they needed to be ordered from the China, etc. And it took a lot of time to understand how to do it best, because we had our rules to which we needed to follow according to our legislation. But still, we understood that it will take more time than it was in the beginning planned. And but the only maybe the only thing that was not so great all about that yes, we delayed some activities because of the procurement specifications. They needed to write well, when you announce the procurement the first time and it goes absolutely with 0 results, then you need to do it again and even again after the second time. But somehow we managed it with the third time. We managed to get what we needed. But this is challenging, because I think it's pretty complex and bureaucratic situation in Latvia as well. You need to fill all of those rules and all of those documents, and need to be aware that maybe actually this, I think that you need to be aware that you need more time than you plan that you will manage to do, because it takes a lot of time. Yeah, about the procurement, I think but everything is related. It's already in I think that procurement, the legislation is already organically integrated in all of those processes, and somehow we already know that with what we need to deal all the time when we announce some procurement.
Great, Laura. Was very clear. Thank you very much. Now, the third challenge that the framework invites a reflection on is the organizational arrangements within the main public authorities of the projects, because we know the UIA explores integrated approaches to innovation in cities, and so different departments and different offices within managing authorities have to collaborate and to coordinate in order to implement the project. Plus, you had the difficulty of having 2 municipalities involved in the project, so double difficulty. Can you share some experience? How did you manage to put all the things together in a coordinated way?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I will mention again that somehow it all happened organically, and we found the way how to do all this cross-department collaboration all the time in the project. But of course, there were situations as well. I think in many projects, in many organizations and businesses when departments do not work well together, and they can eventually tear down all the growth of what you have done already so far. And this is very important thing, that everybody understands what you are doing, where are you going, and what are the main targets. And when you come to this point, when everybody knows and understand what exactly you want to achieve through this project, for example, then somehow it happens very easy. Then it goes like a small wheel, which all work together, and everybody goes to the one target. But we had, as I mentioned already, great partners, and they had a great partnership with the other organizations, and somehow all this came together. But when we felt that we have some kind of problems, that somebody don't understand why it's needed, why it's very important for us, then of course the best and the only way how we could overcome these problems were communication. That was the only way. Yeah.
Thank you, because you also introduced another dimension of the challenge framework, which is about the participatory processes that in the case of UIA projects are self-contained first within the partnership itself, which is a composite partnership. And again, you had 2 locations, so you had half of the partners in each locations, and you needed to communicate also across locations. And so you mentioned that thanks to the fact that you could count on great partners, it was easier to communicate, although the challenge was there, because of course, complex project with many activities, many different partners, 2 different locations. So we also wrote about some of these coordination mechanisms. Just one more question that I have on this, if it's possible to ask, Laura, is was it difficult to get political backing to, was it necessary to get political intervention to align the different city departments, or is it already the culture of your main urban authority to work together across departments?
I think in this case, I can tell that it is already a culture to work together, because when you agree to implement some kind of project, then you understand that it's for the sake of the city, it's for the good for us. And then somehow it happens organically. But if it would be like my own project and I'm some kind of individual, I think that I would need to take a bigger effort to make them trust in me, that it's needed, and that all departments need to be involved, and somehow like that. It's not easy always, but in this time, somehow it was the city's decision to take part in this project, and they were very supportive in both cities.
And this is great, because what you are saying should be a normal or a standard approach to this kind of initiatives, but also I would say in general in managing cities by all municipalities across Europe, but I'm afraid that this is not the case all over the places. So good for you that you have such a good working culture within the local administrations. Okay, if you're okay, let's move to the next challenge, which is defined as monitoring and evaluation. Now, we know that it is very important to measure results, to measure the impact of this kind of projects, but on the other side, it is also very difficult, because some of the impacts of the kind of activities that you implemented during the project will display their impact over the years, because we're talking about human capital, we're talking about competences, we're talking about new technologies, new teaching methodologies. I mean, these are all things that will probably have an effect over time. So how did you find it difficult to balance the need to measure now with the impact that comes later?
Yeah, it was difficult, but as the OER rules are for us strict, and we need to measure it in the implementation period and after, then we needed to do it, and it was not easy, because somehow when you make, for example, in educational institutions, we made a lot of new education technologies. Of course, in the beginning, we couldn't even say how it will affect the studying process. Will it be good? Will the students like it? Will the teachers, lecturers use it in everyday work? And it was pretty hard to understand how to better measure and when to start those measurements. And but then we had the result indicators that we put in the beginning of the project already, and somehow we try to stick to those. And for example, if we look on the city wise, from the city aspect, then we know that if it's not working, then we don't need that. Of course, sorry for that, but still, of course, and it's somehow logical as well, right? But when we talk about education institutions, then we saw that students like those innovations. Students like to work with them. Students like to come to those institutions because they have that kind of innovations, and that measurement will only continue after the project in this year and the next years, and we will see what we have done with all of those great things that we have implemented when we were just doing this project in the beginning, because today we can see only those beginnings of all of the measurements, of all of the KPIs we are looking at, what we want to achieve. But I believe that in next 5 years there will be great results, and I'm pretty sure that other institutions, for example, when they will see what kind of results we have achieved, that they will want to do something similar. If we talk about, for example, new inhabitant attraction or retraining for people as well, we see that people loved it. People that we had a list of those who wanted to try, for example, to retrain in ICT, and then they were very happy to do it. So it means that, okay, we have started it in the project period, but we can continue. It's great for the city. It's great for those who are looking for new jobs. It's great for those people not to move to other city, but they can stay still here because we can offer them such kind of methods and etc. In my opinion, that it's not easy task. It's not at all. You always need to know where to start and from what. But then again, it's very great thing to afterwards to tell it did work. It was great. It's working now. It's still working, and also you can measure how long, for example, it's active or yeah. I think that I already skipped from the theme, but still.
That's perfectly fine. Thank you, Laura. And talking about KPIs, I was impressed in reading your final communication report, because actually the second last challenge, we are almost towards the closing of this interview, but the second last challenge is about communicating with the target beneficiaries of the project. And you had so many different targets in your project to hit, because you had the mission to attract new students to vocational schools. You had the mission to communicate to the general public, but also to attract new companies or new talents to come and live in these two cities, and so on and so forth. So how did you manage, to keep this complexity in place when dealing with communication?
Well, thank you. Good question. Actually, we had a great team again. It was from Valmiera, Ventspils Development Agency, which was responsible about communication, and altogether somehow we made a plan how to do those things, and it worked. And of course, it was not as all those steps. They were not easy in the beginning at all, because the partners had an extra things they needed to do. They always needed to remember to write some articles and to put something new in the social media, etc., etc. And but somehow they agreed all to do that, and we did it pretty nice. I think that it's very crucial and very important for every project to involve as much stakeholders as possible in everything that they're doing, because without them we are doing useless. It's just useless to do anything, because stakeholders are our main viewer, I would say. And we try to involve them through social media, through TVs, through radio, through newspapers, through just communicating, I don't know, making some meetings, etc. Because we were very interested in their what they are thinking. Because if we are doing something for the city, for the public, for the or I don't know, organizations, then we would like to know what they think about that. Will it be useful for them? Will they use those things? And it was very important to have them as a part of, as a partner actually in the project. They were one group that were our partners. Without them, we couldn't do anything. And yeah.
I think that explains a lot about also, something simple as the idea of communicating. It becomes complex when you have such complex projects.
Mhm.
Let's come to the last challenge, which is also probably, given the timing that the project has completed now after 3 years of implementation, is probably the challenge, which is the one about upscaling or continuation of the activities with other means, because the funding is expired now. And so I know that you have done a lot of work to prepare this transition, that you have got the okay from the 2 municipalities to continue some of the project activities after the project ends, and this is already a good achievement. But how easy was it? And if you can share with us some insights about the process, being it administrative or political, behind this kind of result.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, I will say that it's easy to call it not upscaling, but sustainability planning, because I think it's all about sustainability in the future. And I think that in the beginning, when the project partners agreed to take part in this project, they already saw that in the future they will need to make it sustainable, at least some of those activities that they are doing. And when we talked about it, when the project came a bit closer to the end, we started to talk about it more and more. What will they do? How will they do it? What will stay? What is not possible to keep for the future, etc. And partners understood the need to continue, because they saw that we have started on such a great path, and why we should start to do something else in different way, that we can continue and we can achieve great results in the future as well by all of those things that we are doing. And to be honest, there were some, and still are some, activities that we are thinking of who will take responsibility of that and who will take care of it. Because for example, if we talk about the city council, it's not very easy to find a person who will work with one this thing, for example, living contact point. Yes, it takes time. You need somebody who can work with people, who can work with social media, who can organize events, etc. But still, I like that idea that it's still open. It's not like we are not doing it, but we are looking forward to do it. and we are trying to find that person. We are trying to find that, I don't know, department who will be responsible about that. And for city council, I think it's always not easy to take such decisions, because this is not private money, of course, and because of all the legislations again and bureaucracy. It takes more of planning, more of understanding the benefits for the city. And but the good thing is that mostly all of the partners, and especially education institutions, agreed to continue, of course, because they had such a great mm, uh, technology is new and great, and they can continue, and they will. And they found by themselves the way how they will manage it, with what kind of resources, and who will help them to do it. But again, thanks to the Valmiera and Ventspils municipalities, it's working, because when we saw some kind of gap that they will not manage it because of missing resources, uh, they jumped in and said, yes, this is important for us, let's do it, we will help you. So it's not always very easy to have such a great backup, but somehow with this project we have managed that it was really important for all of us, and we are here and we are doing it in the future as well.
That's great, Laura. Thank you very much. I can also see behind you the sign, keep calm and dream big. And I think that is pretty much the philosophy that I have come to learn about you, and about the passion that you put in things. Thank you very much for making the time for this interview. I think it was very interesting, and we went really all across all the 7 challenges that are part of the official framework of the Urban Innovative Actions. And congratulations again, Laura, to you and the partners and the municipalities for all the results that you have achieved.
Thank you, Fabio, and let's look forward for the next project.